history. I've made a big banner, which some of you may have seen on the news or in the papers, for the last ever game of the Goldstone. It read, R.I.P. Goldstone Ground, 1901 to 1997, sold to Moneymen by Archer, we will never forget. And I made that big banner, took hours, then I went to the pub and got really pissed. And when I was in the pub, I just had this idea that I was going to write a poem just about what it was at that moment to be a Brighton fan. And the second to last verse in that poem, in this poem, is incredibly poignant, and for you lot, it will be too. This is called Goldstone Ghosts. As bulldozers close in upon our old beloved home, and those who stand to profit rub their hands, so we gather here together in sad, angry disbelief, and for one last time, our voices fill the stands. This is no happy parting, but a battle-scarred farewell, though victory hopes are mingled with the tears. And I, like you, will stand here as the final whistle blows, with memories which echo down the years. The Chelsea fans threw pennies, old ones, sharpened. I was 8, a target in the South Stand with my dad, and he got rather battered as he held me close and tight and confirmed my view that Chelsea fans were mad. And there, on those old wooden seats, I learned to love the game. The sights and sounds exploded in my head. My dad was proud to have a son with football in his blood, but 2 short years later, he was dead. 11, I went on my own. My friends like chess and stuff. Now don't go in the North Stand, said my mum, but soon I did. Kit Napier's corner, curled into the net. Oh God, the Bournemouth boot boys, better run. Then Villa in the big crunch game. A 30,000 crowd, Bald Lockhead scored, but we still won the day. Then up and straight back down again. Brian Powney, brave and squat. T-Rex, DMs and scarf on wrist. Okay? And then the world was wonderful. Punk Rock and Peter Ward and sidekick Spider Miller, tall and lean. The legendary Walsall game, promotion, riding high, Southampton Spurs, that stitch up was obscene. The final glorious victory, Division 1 at last, Arsenal, first game, with fevered expectation. Those high-big gods tore us to shreds. We learned our lesson well. Steve Foster was our soul and inspiration. Man City came, and Jerry Ryan waltzed to them to score. A mighty Man United beat the dust. Notts Forest, and that Williams screamer nearly broke the net. The Norwich quarter-final, win or bust. And after Wembley, Liverpool were toppled, one last time. The final curtain on those happy days, and then the years of gradual, inexorable decline. Sadly for some, the parting of the ways. But we stayed true as glory days turned into donkey's years. Young, Trussell, Tiltman, Farrington, Eeyore. A Wilkins free kick nearly brought us hope. It was not to be. The rot was deep and spreading to the core. We found our voice and Lloyd was gone. Hooray! But worse to come. Though just how awful we were yet to know. Dissent turned to rebellion and then to open war as on the terrace weeds began to grow. The Goldstone soul behind our backs. Enraged, we rose as one against a stony northern businessman. We drew a line and said enough. And as the nation watched, the final battle for our club began. We brought it to a standstill. Fans united, all for one. A nation's colours joined, a glorious sight. And finally, the stubborn, stony archers moved his ground and made way for our own collective night. The battle's only just begun, when we have won the war. Our club, though torn asunder, will survive. And I salute each one of you who stood up and said no, and fought to keep the Albion alive. And one day, when our new home's built, and we are storming back, a bunch of happy fans without a care, we'll look back at our darkest hour and raise our glasses high and say, with satisfaction, we were there. But first we have to face today, the hardest day of all. Don't worry if you can't hold back the tears. We must look to the future in dignity and peace, as well as mourn our home of 90 years. For me, the Goldstone has an extra special memory of the football soulmate I so briefly had. He christened me John Charles and taught me to love the game. This one's for Bill, a poet, and my dad. Cheers. We come today to wish you all the best as fans united, profiteers out of